Yeah, he's trying to mute your gate. He's trying to mute your gate. I got him. Don't worry.
Glaz's gun is like low-key kind of.
Top east right now, boarded. Might run out. I'll watch.
Man ran inside, bro.
I'm dead. I died. Goodbye.
Oh,
Goodbye,
he got you. Half wall.
There's a maestro cam. So dudes, welcome to another operator how-to, except this one is getting released in a somewhat timely manner. Isn't that crazy? It can't come out soon enough because making it has been an experience in pain tolerance for reasons that we'll learn in due time. I opened up a Gregor shop with my own assortment of gamer outfits for you to game comfortably in. T-shirts, sweatpants, and more. Check out the link. It's at gregor.store. Link in the description. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh no, Greg said the new operator stinks. Does this mean that it's actually good? Because Thorn actually turned out to be good? Well, it's f***ing complicated. I'm gonna use a word that a lot of men have a hard time using.
Right now, bandit.
Sorry, this is a tough one for me. Hold on. I don't know. Whew. That was difficult. Sens is a 3-armored support attacker equipped with RUN, or as some people call these things, roly-polies, which to be perfectly frank, I'm kind of upset I didn't come up with right away. The new operator is tailor-made to be a super support, with a line of sight-blocking gadget, can openers, and a Gon 6. The trade-off is a awful gun that has a middling fire rate but awful damage output and an awful amount of muzzle climb. The only really good thing it has going for it is the ability to mount a wide variety of scopes along with a 50-round magazine. Sens is also the first free armored attacker we've added to the game in quite some time, which made us all conveniently forget how much of a pain in the ass it is to be such a thing. Being a 3-armor on defense is fine, considering you can anchor and play in a more stationary way. But with Sens, it's kind of tricky, because if your positioning is bad, you're going to take a lot of time to move in a more advantageous way. It will punish your bad positioning mistakes much more thoroughly. Don't get me wrong, that additional health pool can be helpful. In fact, I've won a couple of rounds off of it. But I didn't really keep track of the amount of rounds I've lost because of the slow movement, and that's something that's a little bit under the surface and somewhat unnoticed. I know you're listening. This difficulty rating is too low. In fact, 3 is too low. It should probably be a 3.14. 5, 9, 2, 6, 5, 3, 5, 8, 9, 7, 9, 3, 2, 3, ... to designate a repeating decimal, which means the number will never fucking end. This operator takes a considerable amount of game knowledge to execute somewhat properly, and even then, more options might be more straightforward. Sens requires a lot of deliberation and boxes to be checkmarked for you to get the most out of them. I'm pretty sure that the pre-flight checklist to take off in a Boeing 737 is less rigorous than the checklist I need when I want to make usage of Sens' gadget effectively. There are several things to do that are easier than trying to do a successful execute with Sens' gadget. Here's my non-comprehensive list. Fixing a leaky pipe, replacing your windshield wiper fluid, replacing your blinker fluid, losing 2 years of your 20s in a pandemic, telling a joke at the Oscars, building a rocket, fighting a mummy, or climbing up the Eiffel Tower, establishing and following emergency procedures in an RBMK nuclear reactor.
Are you stupid?
Just to name a few. Sens' gadget is a rollable panache wheel that deploys in a line in front of them. It's a Viper wall. Okay, you win. It's a Viper wall. Congratulations. You pointed it out. Can we focus on the video? Oh boy, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, so Sens gets 3 usages of RUN. It's not a bad gadget in theory, but is it hard to execute? You're probably already familiar with smoke grenades and what they're used for. They block off information to defenders while you try to make a play. The easiest thing to teach is setting up a site execute for a diffuser plant. You smoke off angles where your diffuser guy can get shot from, like blue door and connector door on chalet basement. The thing about smoke grenades, though, is that you can throw them directly at what you want to smoke off, and you can arch them over obstacles. Sens' gadget is very finicky about how it works. Deploy this thing even slightly incorrectly, and it will bounce off of the map terrain and end up ruining your entire plan.
Doing it well. I represent Taco Bell Dorito Shop.
The sites and situations on which it works are going to have to be somewhat open and devoid of little things on the ground. One toaster oven can ruin your entire execute. Additionally, the gadget comes with a big problem. Yeah, it can be thrown over holes, but it comes out right in front of you. Its animation is also quite lengthy too. Sens has a little rotator cuff thing going on, so they want to stretch a little bit before they really sling that thing, you know? You never be too careful. Throw just one of these things, and people will probably anticipate another one coming their way, and then just swing you for a free kill. Not to mention, you're not in cover, because you can't be if you want this thing to work right. A common habit you gotta break in Valorant is to not peek with your util. Unfortunately, unlike a Phoenix wall that can curve to cover pixels that you don't want your enemy to see, or a Viper wall that you can deploy through walls, Sens needs line of sight. Or they have to have a premeditated Sens lineup where you as a player can be confident that it's going to go in a certain direction because of the whole wall bouncy thing. Otherwise, you're going to have to stick to the straight line. And in order to get that straight line, you have to get the positioning right. The more you fuck around trying to get the positioning right, the more likely you are to get picked off. The wheelie boy gets zapped away by Jaeger ADSs too, which is cool, but when it already takes so much effort to deploy this thing correctly, it can be a real pain in the ass. In some situations, it makes for a decent ADS burner in that sense, since you get 3 of them. In that sense. But there are other characters that can do this, like Ying. Additionally, if you're not exactly aware of where this gadget is going to go, it can end up bouncing off of more stuff, even if you block the line of sight that you're going for. My recommendation would probably be to go into a custom game and rehearse exactly what you're trying to do with it, but you're not going to do that, right? No one's going to fucking do that unless they're in Pro League. You're going to bring a character with smoke grenades who has a better primary gadget and a better gun. The POF-9. It stands for poor fuck that got out DPS by Jaeger's 416 9 times. It's me. The POF-9 has a 35 damage rating with assault rifle handling speed and elephant gun recoil. Also, it looks ridiculous and I hate it. Ubisoft heard your concerns about the LMG pre-firing meta loud and clear, and made sure to keep this gun from being good. Maybe a little too much. I'd forgive all of this if Sens had other redeeming qualities, and they're supposed to be a quote-unquote super support, so it only makes sense. They're a 1-speed, and their gun isn't good to compensate. But, wow. For starters, the upward kick is massive, on par with Zophia's AR. It also has this weird side-to-side kick pattern that starts after Ubisoft sees that you've been pre-firing with it for too long. To illustrate what I'm talking about, Ubisoft has also given us a firing range. Thanks, Ubisoft. Now let's put it to test with the new gun. We're going to compare Sens' recoil to the recoil of a number of other assault rifles. First, Lion's Vector. Alright, what about Twitch's F2? That's got a better recoil. Buck C8. Okay, nobody likes using the R4C anymore. Alright, I feel like we got our comparisons out of the way. Let's try the POF-9. You want to get really mad? Let's compare the POF-9 to the PDW. I want to add, the PDW has faster ADS time, a faster fire rate, significantly less recoil, and a damage rating of 34, which, when we take into consider, it doesn't matter. It's basically the same damage rating. This gun sucks, and I still use it. Why? Because one-shot headshot. And no, the 417 isn't bad, but I'm not MLG Pro enough. If you're MLG Pro, the 417 is probably just the better option. But to each their own. Aim for the head and you'll be fine, I think, if the recoil doesn't make it too difficult for you. I run compensator on this gun. The stability problems are too significant for me to use anything else. Does Sens suck? No-went? It's not necessarily that Sens is bad, as much as there's other alternatives that are just better. Sens is mid. Sens is mid. And in 2022, mid is ass. So I guess by the transitive property, Sens is ass, but that doesn't seem right. This is a wait and see moment for me. I'm just gonna wait until there's a little bit more competitive Siege played. It's very, very difficult to justify this operator's presence. I can see some very specific situations where maybe it'll work, but that's going to take a lot of rehearsal and a lot of, you know, not casual gamer stuff to pull off. If you're a support player, I can't recommend Sens. I think there are other operators on the table that are easier to use, that you get more benefits from right off of the jump. I think Sens is going to get some adjustments later down the line, especially based off of Pro League feedback. And whenever that happens, I will eagerly make a video about that. But until then, this is the operator how-to you got. So to watch more of them, subscribe to this channel and give it a like if it raised your Siege IQ. Thanks so much for watching. Deuces.